A t-test is a powerful way to compare two groups and determine if there's a statistical difference. We're going to be using SPSS to help us perform these tests to take the burden of calculation away from you and place it on the computer. The first thing we're going to do is open our data set. Now this is a different data set than for your particular project, used for demonstration purposes only. This data set compares the gender, 1 or 2, and the number of times that that particular student raised their hand during a class period. So we have the gender 1 for males, the gender 2 for females, and the number of times that their hand was raised. And you can see here we have 30 data points. So what we are going to do is perform a t-test to determine if there is a statistical difference between males and females and the number of times they raise their hand in class. To do this, we will click the Analyze button in SPSS after the data set is opened. We will go down to Compare Means and we will choose Independent Samples t-test. This asks us to choose a couple of variables. The first is, what are we testing? What are we comparing? We are comparing the number of times that the hands were risen. So I will highlight the hands up variable and move it into the test variable option. Next, we want to know what we are grouping this by. We are grouping this by gender, males and females. Okay? So I will highlight the gender and click the arrow button to move it to the grouping variable. Please note, if you drag this over, it will appear there as well. Next, we have to define the groups. We have to tell SPSS how many levels of the grouping variable there are. It will not know this automatically. We have to set out the definition. To do this, we hit the Define Groups button, and all we're going to do is tell it what Group 1 and Group 2 are delineated by. In this case, it's very easy. They chose the number 1 for males, or Group 1, and 2 for females. It does not always have to be that way. I could have chosen any arbitrary code I wanted. I could have chosen males to be the number 7, females the number 9. Typically, we do choose 1 and 2. It's the easiest, but it's not a requirement when setting up a data set. Next, I will hit Continue. If you are having trouble defining the groups and you notice that the Define Groups button is not active, it means you've clicked somewhere else in the box by mistake. In order to activate this, merely click on the grouping variable name and that will activate that button for you. Now that we have chosen our test variable, our grouping variable, and we have defined our groups, we can click Continue to complete the test. What we have here is information from the test. We have the number of males and the number of females, along with the average and standard deviation for each group, and then we have the full output for the t-tests from the means. This is the information you will be copying and pasting into your Word document. That is how SPSS will compare two independent samples in terms of equality for mean.